Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I am with a car that is one of the last of its kind. Right beside me is the 2020 Ford Mustang Bullitt. Now if you guys know the Bullitt name, this is a car that goes back to the movie with Steve McQueen from the 1960s. And as you guys know, Ford brought this car back for 2019, and for 2020 it pretty much stays the same. Ford is planning to discontinue the Bullitt for 2021 because they are replacing it with the Ford Mach E. But this is regardless a nearly 500 horsepower, 6-speed manual muscle car that is, again, a very old school way of looking at performance in the world of electrification, of course, and self-driving. So in today's video, we're gonna go over the 2020 Bullitt, see what it's like to live with on a daily basis, and we're gonna find out, is the Bullitt Mustang or a Mustang GT still worth a look if you guys are looking for some old school fun? That's what we're here to find out. So with any muscle car, you probably want to know what's going on underneath that massive hood. And this is where a lot of enthusiasts, of course, are going to start prodding around when they find a Mustang. This is, of course, the company's 5-liter naturally aspirated V8. It revs all the way up to 7,400 RPM. And the Bullitt trim, because of that high flow intake system, it does make a little bit more power than the standard GT. You're looking at 480 horsepower and 420 pound-feet of torque. This engine also is refreshingly old school looking when you take a look at it under the hood. Not anything in terms of plastic covers covering it up. It does get pretty awful gas mileage. In fact, this car is hit with a $1,000 gas guzzler tax because it's rated at 14 in the city, 23 on the highway. This engine will live on, of course, in the Mustang Mach E, where it makes the same output. Again, remember, 20 more horsepower than what you get in the standard GT. This is the only transmission available on the Bullitt, which is that 6-speed manual transmission, rear-wheel drive with a limited slip differential. Now, this is a pretty heavy vehicle. It weighs around 3,850 pounds, but you should be getting to 60 in just under 4 seconds if you can get the shifting right. Now, of course, the Mustang got a pretty significant refresh on the outside for 2019, so it doesn't surprise me for 2020 it doesn't get any changes. And honestly, I thought this front end I would warm up to it over the years. To be frank, I actually think the pre-refresh Mustang still looks better, but they did upgrade this generation, of course, with full LED headlights, LED turn signals, LED fog lights, so at least the technology aspect did get better. But really, I just can't get past the front fascia of this thing. Now, of course, with the Bullitt, you get traditional, or you get those throwback styling cues, the chrome accents around the grille. Ford deleted the running horse in the center. You have the LED headlights, LED daytime running lights, and turn signals and fog lights, as you can see, and the Bullitt also includes this more aggressive front splitter. And really, if you're looking for a Mustang that kind of blends in a little bit, this thing looks kind of like a rental car, which is a throwback, a nod to the original Bullitt from the 60s, the movie, if you guys had seen that movie. Even the wheels are those throwback wheels. These are a 19-inch design, 5-spoke with that chrome lip around it. You've got staggered wheels, 255s in the front, and then fatter 275s at the rear with these red Brembo brake calipers. I think the wheels actually do look good, although I just don't particularly like how this one looks very plain. If you guys don't want the Bullitt, of course, you can get something like the Ford GT or the Mustang GT with the Performance Pack 1 or Performance Pack 2 that includes a nice tall pedestal style spoiler. The Bullitt kind of deletes everything. It also puts the Bullitt badge on the back here to, again, make this thing look a little bit more sleeper-like. And you can only take your pick between this color here, of course, this green, which is a throwback, or just a shadow black, which Ford added because dealers were asking for a black car. The Mustang still stretches around 188 inches long. This is, again, one of the longer of the muscle cars, but the Challenger is still bigger. And at the back, you can see here, you get those sequential LED turn signals, which of course is a throwback to the original Mustang. A nice quad outlet exhaust system, which this one has the active exhaust. It sounds fantastic. And the trunk capacity of the Mustang measures around 13.5 cubic feet of space, which is a pretty good practical sized trunk, but the opening is on the smaller side. So obviously Ford didn't make any changes to the Bullitt on the outside for 2020 because this was a new model for 19, and on the inside, it pretty much carries over as well. The interior of the Bullitt is pretty identical to a GT with the premium package, or GT Premium, and the Bullitt comes fairly well equipped because this is kind of like at the high end. If you guys don't go for a Shelby model, this is the highest end kind of GT that you can think of, with additional power and of course unique styling and such. Looking at this interior, you can see my tester has basically just the black interior. There's only one interior option. I have the standard leather seats. I love the dark Highland green stitching that you get on the seats. On the door panels, of course, you're gonna get that special Bullitt plaque that shows, I believe, believe which unit this was that rolled off the production line. The door also includes that green stitching that's accented. The Mustang's interior is definitely starting to look a little bit old, but it also, I think, has aged pretty well. The door is very big and heavy, and when you shut it, it has a relatively solid sounding thunk. You can see the steering wheel on the Bullitt has a unique Bullitt emblem here. It's a tilt telescoping wheel. It only comes with a 6-speed manual, of course, so if you guys want an automatic, you need to step down to a regular GT. The start-stop button is down here. And you can hear once that thing starts up, it reminds you constantly that you have a V8 Mustang with that very traditional V8 Mustang-like growl. There's a drive mode selector over here where the car will almost default to like normal. You can also put it into a sport where it'll put the exhaust. In a loud mode, it'll change the way the instrument panel looks. Yeah, this thing screams American muscle every time you start this thing up, and it sounds great. But one thing about it, unlike some pushrod engines, this thing redlines at 7,400 RPM, so it's a great sounding engine. During the driving scene, I'm sure I'll be having a really good time in this thing. Now, there's some aluminum look trim here on the dash. You have these 2 gauges here for oil pressure and for a vacuum gauge that's, I believe, in the intake manifold. This is part of like a performance package that you get on GT trims. It's standard on the Bullitt. My tester also has the Bang & Olufsen sound system, which sounds pretty good. Not quite as high-end as some of the B&O systems I've heard in some German cars. It's almost like this is kind of like a stepped-down version. The materials you can see are hard touch or soft touch plastic with some stitching over here, although it's a faux stitching, but with the green accents. It's hard touch plastic over here, soft touch over here, more of that faux stitching along here. It's a very retro-inspired dual cowl design. This is what this interior Mustang has had since it came out about 5 years ago. The door panels are also soft touch. This is part of the GT Premium package. You have 3-person memory seats. The seats themselves, you can see it is like a 6-way power adjustment, but the recline is actually a manual, which is very odd. I like these standard seats because they include a heated and cooled function. If you guys go for the optional Recaro seats, you're going to lose the heated and cooled function, which you can see is down here. I'd highly recommend just going for the standard seats because I like the heated and cooled function. You may as well get it when you have something that's this expensive. The steering wheel, you can see, offers a tilt and telescoping, which they frustratingly put the release over on that side, which is opposite of most cars. You can see it offers a good amount of adjustability. You can also change out the way this fully digital display looks. This is included with the Bullitt, optional of course on other GT Mustangs. The steering wheel, I'm surprised that Ford hasn't gone with like a flat bottom design wheel. They do offer that on the Shelbys, I believe, and the GT500, which is again a step above this car and the other GT trims. You can see this is the Sync 3 system. It's an 8-inch touchscreen. The graphics are starting to look a little bit old, but it is relatively good, although I will say that there are times where the system was slow, and I also found that there were times where the CarPlay didn't work. I had to completely shut off the car and restart it to have the CarPlay come on. That's kind of a reoccurring thing with a lot of these modern cars. This is like a computer in the screen, or in the center here, so it kind of gets a little buggy at times. You can also adjust multiple things here. You have buttons here, hard buttons for your climate control, which is dual zone, your heated and cooled seats. You've got toggles here for the things like your hazards, stability control. You can change the steering feel, whatnot. The shifter here, it's that traditional cue ball white shifter, which is a very short throw, really nice shifter, although the clutch on this car is pretty heavy. I would say car is definitely not for somebody who's beginning to learning how to drive stick. This is somebody for more intermediate levels. You can see more stitching down here, actual stitching on the center console, which is nice because lower end Mustangs have very cheap hard plastic materials on the center stack here, so this is nice. Open this up, you can see another USB, pretty good amount of storage as well. A power outlet, this is nice and padded over here. And then the glove compartment, you can see it's pretty decent size. It's damped but not lined with felt. And then the backup camera, this car does offer a backup camera. It has trajectory and no parking sensors, I don't believe, but in terms of driver assistance, it actually does have parking sensors. You can turn off the rear parkade over here. And then my tester has an electronics package that rolls in the blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic alert and gives you the factory embedded GPS, which is part of that electronics package for $2,000. No other driver assistance like forward collision warning or adaptive cruise control. That is not available on the Bullitt because this only comes with a stick shift. But overall, the interior is still very much a Mustang. Roomy, it's okay to see out of, better than the Camaro and Challenger. But as you can see, the technology in this car is definitely starting to look a little bit dated, especially when you look at some of Ford's newer products. So obviously I've had a chance to drive a Mustang with the 5-liter V8 and a 6-speed manual multiple times. So in this video, because Ford didn't make any changes to the Mustang this year, for the Bullitt specifically, I'm just gonna basically remind myself and you guys why, despite the world of electrification and self-driving cars, why you should still want to drive a 5-liter V8 with a stick. I mean, there's just something so pure about this. There's just something so satisfying. And right off the bat, the Bullitt has that classic muscle car noise. This thing sounds like the 60s. It just sounds like thunder from the exhaust. It just makes a really nice noise to it. I love the sound that this thing makes. And it does kind of have launch control, but it's a stick, so all you have to do is just put it into first gear and then rev it up to 3,000 where I have it set to. And this thing literally loves to rev. You didn't expect a muscle car to like to do that. But yes, this thing makes quite the noise to it. And it just reminds me why muscle cars are so much fun, especially when you have nearly 500 horsepower attached to it. This is just insane how fun this car is. Now, 0 to 60 times, you're looking at probably around 4 seconds. It just depends on how fancy you are with your footwork. A lot of those quick electric Teslas are gonna smoke you off the line, but they don't sound as good as this. So that's kind of the whole reason why you're going for a car like this. It just has an incredible noise to it. And because it's a naturally aspirated engine, you just feel that instantaneous thrust. Like, this thing doesn't have any lags from a turbo spooling up or a supercharger, trying to build boost or whatever. It's just really very pure. And I think that's the whole point of going with the Mustang with the 5-liter. It's just a really satisfying car to drive. And you can easily chirp into second gear with this thing. It just has so much power. It's unbelievable how good this car is. And you know what? With the magno-rheological dampers that my tester has for an extra $1,700, it also still rides surprisingly well. You can hear the noise just echoing as you go through overpasses and whatnot. It's just so cool. I love driving these things. Even though they do feel big, they do feel heavy, especially around corners. The steering, even in sport mode, is still a little bit light and numb. The car just feels heavy. It feels like I'm piloting something that's, almost 4,000 pounds. The ride quality, as I said, is good. The seats are comfortable. I prefer these seats over the standard or over the optional Recaros. Visibility is not as terrible as the Camaro as well. You can see out of it okay. But really, I'm just impressed. The 6-speed in this car also has that nice cue ball shifter. The clutch takes some getting used to. This is not a beginner's manual transmission car. If you guys have never driven stick, you're gonna wanna go for, something that's, a little bit easier to drive, like a Miata, for example. This is just a little bit more for intermediate levels. Now, the downside with something like this is fuel economy is not great. 14.23 is pretty bad. In my weeks for the testing, I've been averaging around 12 mpg, so not very good mpg. That's why it's hit with that gas guzzler tax. But you don't buy something like this to obviously get good gas mileage. You could get the Ford Mustang EcoBoost, which they offer that new EcoBoost performance package. I haven't driven that model yet, which has the Ford Focus RS's engine. I would love to drive it. I've driven the GT500, great car, even better than the 5-liter. But I also haven't driven the GT350, which I'm hoping to get a hold of one of those sometime soon, hopefully by the end of this year. But really, there's plenty to like still with this current Mustang. And really, if you want something that feels so old school like this, pick one of these up while they can, because there is an all-new Mustang coming out in the next 2 years. Oh yeah, I could never get tired of that, but So obviously the Mustang is still a very practical and fun muscle car to buy. And even though it is a little bit smaller in the back seat versus a Challenger, it is a little bit more practical versus the Camaro. And it's probably why the Mustang still sells well. Ford does roughly around 70,000 Mustangs every year in America. It outsells the Challenger, it outsells the Camaro. And the Bullitt trim is an interesting one because, you know, Ford, for example, offered it another year this year. And it kind of is basically a GT premium with the 402A upgrade package, which gives you another 20 horsepower for about $3,000 more. So it actually is a good deal. But personally for me, the Bullitt styling elements don't really talk to me. So I would look at a GT with a performance pack 1 or 2, save myself a couple $1,000s. The extra 20 horsepower isn't really going to be noticed that much. I just don't really particularly like the styling details you get with the Bullitt trim level. Speaking of which, this one here stickers for a total of $52,000 with the electronics package with the Magna Ride dampers, which really makes the ride quality on this thing very comfortable and compliant. Mustangs, remember, started around $26,000. A GT with the V8 will at least cost you around $36,000, so $10,000 more. Still represents a great deal because you can get nearly 500 horsepower for around, you know, $40,000 to $50,000 fully loaded. So if you guys want an old school muscle car, pick one of these up while they can, because Ford is planning to redesign the Mustang by 2023, and we have no idea what they're gonna do. I mean, obviously there's the Mustang Mach E coming out, the all-electric crossover, which is a completely different vehicle. But with you know, self-driving, with electrification, with regulations coming in, we really don't know how long something like this will continue to be on sale. So if you guys are looking for an old school muscle car with a manual, the Mustang Bullitt or GT is one of the best ones you can still choose today. But with all that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the 2020 Ford Mustang Bullitt. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.